Good morning, everybody. My name is Pranav, a legal intern at Lexis and Company for the month of June. And today, I'll be talking about the dissolution of a partnership firm. As per Section 39 of the Indian Partnership Act, dissolution of partnership between all the partners of a firm is called dissolution of the firm. Dissolution of partnership only involves a change in the relation of the partners, whereas dissolution of a firm means the complete breakdown of the relation of partnership among all the partners. Dissolution of firm can be mainly done by two methods. First is dissolution without the order of the court. Dissolution without the order of the court may take place in the following manner, that is, dissolution by mutual agreement or consent. As a partnership is a creation by mutual consent in the same way, it can be dissolved by mutual consent of all the partners. It can also be dissolved in accordance with a contract between the partners. Compulsory dissolution. Compulsory dissolution takes place under the following three circumstances only. Firstly, when all the three partners become insolvent, or when all the partners except one becomes insolvent, the firm is dissolved because the firm should consist of at least two partners. Secondly, when any one of the partners become insolvent. And thirdly, if the business becomes unlawful in the happening of some event. Next is dissolution and the happening of certain contingencies. Under Section 42, if the following events happen, a firm gets dissolved. That is, expiry of the firm in which the firm was constituted, completion of the particular adventure for which the firm was constituted, death of a partner, and insolvency of a partner. And the last mode of dissolution without the order of the court is dissolution by notice. Section 43 states that in case of a partnership at will, it may be dissolved by any partner by giving notice in writing to all the other partners of his intention to dissolve the firm. An oral notice or notice only to some partners is not sufficient. When one such notice is given, then it cannot be taken back where all partners agree. A partnership which is not at will cannot be dissolved. Let's look at the second type, that is, dissolution by the order of the court. Under the following 7 grounds, the court may dissolve a firm. A court order may dissolve a firm. First is insanity of a partner. When one of the partners becomes insane, then any partner may apply to the court for dissolution. There must be adequate proof to show that the partner has been really suffering from an unsound mind. If a sleeping partner becomes insane, the court may not order dissolution. Second is permanent incapacity of the partner. When any partner has become permanently incapable of performing his duties as a partner, then the court may order dissolving of the firm. The incapacity may be due to physical ailment or due to mental illness. However, the incapacity must be permanent in nature. Third is the misconduct of a partner. When a partner is guilty of misconduct, and if such misconduct is likely to affect the carrying on of the firm's business, then the court may order the dissolving of the firm. However, the firm cannot be dissolved on the petition given by the guilty partner. The misconduct of the partner need not be connected to the partnership business, and it is sufficient if the misconduct affects the business of the firm. Examples of misconduct are conviction or breach of trust, gambling, or any fraudulent acts. Fourth is consistent or persistent breach of contract. When a partner willfully and continuously commits the breach of partnership agreement or conducts himself in such a manner so that it becomes impossible for the other partners to carry on the business in partnership with him, then the firm may be dissolved. Let's look at a case law for this particular point. In Anderson versus Anderson, it was held that for dissolution of a firm, the violation of the partnership agreement by a partner must not merely be useful and persistent, but must also be substantial. Fifth is transfer of interest. When a partner has transferred the whole of his interest in the firm to a third party, then the court may order dissolving of the firm. If the other party sue for the same, here the transfer of shares must be the whole interest of the partner in the firm and not merely a part of it. Sixth is continuous losses. Since the main objective for establishing the firm is to achieve profit, when the business of the firm is running at a loss for a continuous period, then the firm may be dissolved by the court. And the last mode is any just or equitable ground. When, on any other ground, the court thinks it is just and equitable to dissolve the firm, it may do so. In the case of Mackenzie vs. Himalaya Assurance Company Limited, the court held that the fact that the partnership cannot be run profitable due to the personal differences between the partners is also a ground for dissolution by court order. And with this, I come to the end for today's discussion.